Welcome to the Edgy Veggies webinar. In this webinar, you will learn about how to use taste-focused labeling to encourage healthier eating. These insights are based on the publication of the DISH study in the journal Psychological Science, that stands for Delicious Impressions Support Healthy Eating. And you'll also learn about the Edgy Veggies Toolkit, a practical resource for applying these insights in a variety of contexts. These insights were also based on the findings of a groundbreaking behavioral research model developed by the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative. That is a nationwide network of colleges and universities using campus dining halls as living laboratories for behavior change. The speakers in today's presentation are me, Sophie Egan, Director of Health and Sustainability Leadership, as well as the Editorial Director for the Strategic Initiatives Group at the Culinary Institute of America. I'm also the co-director of the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative. Our second speaker is Dr. Brad Turnwald, postdoctoral fellow at the Stanford Mind and Body Lab at Stanford University. And our final speaker is Jackie Bertoldo, Assistant Director of Food Choice Architecture and Nutrition at R&DE Stanford Dining. The Menus of Change University Research Collaborative was founded in 2014 by the Culinary Institute of America and Stanford University. It's been jointly led by those two institutions since that time. And together, we serve over 750,000 meals each day across our diverse, extensive, and inclusive network of 236 members, representing 57 colleges and universities, 2 ex officio organizations, and 4 research collaborator organizations. Our work is made possible by the generous support of 22 industry-leading sponsor organizations. And our vision of the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative is cultivating the long-term well-being of people and the planet, one student, one meal at a time. The mission, the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative, is a collaboration of forward-thinking scholars, food service leaders, executive chefs, and administrators for colleges and universities who are accelerating efforts to move people toward healthier, more sustainable, and delicious foods using evidence-based research, education, and innovation. Underlying all of our work are the 24 Menus of Change principles of healthy, sustainable menus, an evidence-based framework for ingredient sourcing, operational design, and menu strategy provided by the CIA and Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health. Together, we are advancing a groundbreaking research pipeline focused on plant-forward diets, food waste reduction, and the drivers of consumer food choices. And we co-create educational resources related to accelerating the implementation of the 24 Menus of Change principles of healthy, sustainable menus. All of our work is meant to be applied more broadly beyond the collaborative to help transform the food system in the name of human and environmental health.
All right, thanks Sophie for the introduction there. It's no secret that as a country and as a planet, we need to eat healthier. Strategies are needed to increase consumption of plant-based foods like vegetables as part of a plant-forward diet to improve both the health of our people and our planet. While many strategies have been tested, one way to influence people's eating behavior is by using labels. Labels can change how people expect a food to taste and whether or not they choose it. Unfortunately, for healthy foods, we typically market and label them with a strong emphasis on their nutritional qualities or health benefits. But research suggests that people's strongest motivation in the moment of food choice is tastiness. This often positions healthy options at a mismatch with people's taste motivations. But what if we flip that script? Instead of emphasizing health attributes, will more people choose healthy foods if we emphasize the tasty and enjoyable attributes of them? So our research question is, will people be more likely to choose vegetables with taste focus, health focus, or basic labels? And here's 3 examples of what I mean when I say taste focus: urban honey balsamic glazed turnips, twisted citrus splashed carrots, and sizzling Szechuan broccoli with toasted garlic. Compare those labels to the health focus labels like healthy choice turnips or vitamin packed carrots, and the basic labels like turnips or carrots. The important thing about taste-focused labels is that they convey something about the taste, so mentioning ingredients like garlic or ginger, and also something about the experience. Words like sizzling, inspired, or glazed, they all help convey that this dish is not only tasty, It's exciting, it's indulgent, it's comforting, or maybe nostalgic. We first tested this research question in 2017 in the largest dining hall at Stanford University in partnership with Stanford Residential and Dining Enterprises. This setting is interesting for several reasons. First, college students have among the lowest vegetable intakes of any age group nationwide, so they're an important group to intervene on. Second, dining halls represent living laboratories. People are making real decisions in their daily lives. And this makes the findings a lot more translatable to real-world settings than traditional lab studies that have taken place in isolated or artificial eating environments. And third, in this setting, diners have many alternative foods to choose from, not just the vegetable that we're interested in. So vegetables have to be able to compete among plentiful, appealing alternatives. And so in this study, every day for 46 days, during the busiest 2 hours of lunch service, we labeled the vegetable of the day as either taste-focused, health-focused, or basic, and we counted how many diners chose that vegetable, depending upon the label. One of the most important things that our design controlled for was that each time a given vegetable dish was served, it was served next to the exact same alternative food choices on the exact same day of the week. For example, each time broccoli was served, it was prepared the same way as last time, and it was always on a Tuesday next to chicken, tofu, and rice. The only thing that differed was how the broccoli was labeled. And in that first study, we were really excited to see that taste-focused labels like twisted citrus splash carrots, the dark gray bar, significantly increased the proportion of diners choosing vegetables compared to basic labels like carrots or health-focused labels like vitamin-packed carrots. So even though these were the exact same vegetables served the exact same way next to the same alternative options, taste-focused labeling increased the number of diners choosing vegetables per day. So while we saw these results in a rigorous large sample, we measured for 46 days, we looked at 17 different vegetable dishes, we cataloged 27,000 food decisions, this test was only at one institution. And so we next partnered with the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative, or MCURC, to scale this research and test whether our results would replicate across multiple settings. We scaled this intervention to 5 different schools, measuring on 185 total days across 137,000 diner decisions for 71 different vegetable dishes. This multi-site experiment, called the DISH study, or Delicious Impressions Support Healthy Eating, was done in partnership with the University of Southern California, Rutgers University, Stanford University, the University of North Texas, and Northeastern University. We used the same rigorous longitudinal methods as our previous experiment, counting how many diners chose the daily vegetable each day at each school, depending upon whether that vegetable had a taste focus, health focus, or basic label. I'll now share our 5 key insights from this multi-site experiment. First, we found that taste-focused labels increase vegetable selection. So across all 5 of these schools, taste-focused labels increase the amount of diners choosing vegetables by 29% compared to traditional health-focused labels, and by 14% compared to basic labels. Second, we found that taste-focused labels increase vegetable consumption, or the amount of vegetables that diners were not just putting on their plates, but that they were actually eating. We measured this in one dining hall for each of 16 days by measuring the mass of vegetables that diners were throwing away as waste and subtracting that from the mass of vegetables that diners had served themselves from the serving line. This finding is important because it means that these labels aren't tricks. People are taking these vegetables because they expect them to taste better, and they're actually eating them because the flavor lives up to those expectations from the flavors that were highlighted in the label. Third, we experimentally measured why taste-focused labels work. How are they so effective? We asked people how good they expected a dish to taste when it had a taste-focused label versus a health-focused label, and how likely they would be to choose it. Then, using a statistical model, we found that the reason why people were more likely to choose vegetables with taste-focused labels was because they expected them to taste better. It increased their expectations of a positive flavor experience. compared to when people rated the same dish with a health-focused label. Positively influencing flavor expectations for vegetable dishes matters because people's food choices are based, in large part, on how good they expect a dish to taste. Fourth, we learned that you can't just slap any old label on a dish and expect it to do better. In a follow-up experiment, we compared taste-focused labels to 3 other label types that might seem similar, but are not taste-focused labels because they don't emphasize both the flavor and the positive experience. The results showed that indeed, participants were more likely to choose taste-focused labels than fancy labels, so words like ebullient or viridescent. Also compared to vague positive labels, like just saying awesome or incredible, and compared to labels that merely listed the ingredients. In other words, Twisted Citrus Splash Carrots works because it highlights the flavor and the positive experience, while Absolutely Awesome Zucchini and Roasted Broccoli are too vague to really grip the attention of a person's flavor expectations. And finally, when did this intervention work best? Taste-focused labels worked best at schools that served the most flavorful recipes. They had no effect when dishes were prepared as bland or basic, like steamed broccoli or boiled corn, because that dish doesn't live up to flavorful expectations set by a label. This finding in particular highlights the importance of a 2-part approach. Prepare vegetables deliciously, and then highlight those tasty and enjoyable attributes in the label. And before I hand it over to Jackie to demo how to use the Edgy Veggies toolkit and implement these taste-focused labels in your setting, I'll close by noting that the findings of the dish study support 3 key menus of change principles. Think produce first, lead with menu messaging around flavor, and design health and sustainability into operations and dining spaces. And so if at this point in the presentation, after seeing all this data, you're thinking, well, of course using taste-focused labels works. Isn't it obvious? The answer to that is an emphatic no. Though it might seem obvious that emphasizing the flavor of any dish would increase the number of people choosing it, this approach just really hasn't been used for healthy foods. Junk foods and less healthy foods have capitalized on provocative, tasty, and exciting language for decades, but most public health campaigns for vegetables emphasize mainly their nutritional qualities. Most people have just assumed that this language wouldn't work for vegetables. This innovative research tells us not only that it's possible to do so, but that we must lead with flavor if we want our healthiest options to be able to compete for people's attention.
Thank you, Brad. So now that you've learned about the power of taste-focused labeling and how and why it works, I'm excited to talk with you about how we translate these findings into practice. The findings from this research are just the beginning, and we've been very thoughtful about how we can help food service operators and others implement these findings for maximum impact. So we've created a resource that we've named the Edgy Veggie Toolkit. This toolkit was designed for food service operators, but what we found is that it is really applicable for anyone who influences what other people eat, whether you're designing menus for thousands of people or your own children. Whether you're a company promoting a plant-forward product or a policymaker trying to improve food choices more broadly. And the flexibility and wide applicability of taste-focused labeling means that the potential for impact is enormous. Within just the MCRC, if all member institutions implemented taste-focused labeling across the 750,000 meals our universities serve each day, this would translate into 38,000 more vegetable servings per day. The toolkit is available through Stanford SPARK, which stands for Social Psychological Answers to Real-World Questions. And we have both an online toolkit and a PDF version that can be printed and distributed as a hard copy. Thousands of people have already visited the Edgy Veggies website to access this toolkit, which walks you through a simple 4-step process to transform any healthy dish name into one that will excite and entice your diners. Something I should mention is that this is an incredibly low cost and easy to implement intervention, as it really requires just a bit more intention about how you name each dish. And this can actually be quite a fun activity. And the way we've approached this at Stanford is to gather our chefs, nutritionists, managers, and other food service staff together and do a group brainstorm of delicious names, which everyone has really enjoyed. And so the first step of the Edgy Veggie Toolkit is to select which dish you want to promote. And so in the study, we looked at vegetables specifically, but this can also be applied to other plant-forward dishes or other healthy dishes that you want your diners to be more excited to eat. And so one of the things we talk about is that a lot of unhealthy dishes have the advantage of getting really delicious names. And so when you are approaching the taste-focused labeling, you want to think about what are the healthy dishes that you want to promote and to really put the effort into making those recipes sound as delicious as possible. So these could include vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fruits, and plant-based entrees. And so we don't want to focus as much on names for things like pizza, burgers, and fries that often enjoy rich labels and so don't really need to be described differently. As Brad mentioned, another critical element is making sure the dish actually tastes good. And this has multiple benefits. The first being that if the food has more exciting ingredients and more exciting preparations, it's easier to give it a taste-focused name. It has more aspects of the dish that you can work with. And as Brad mentioned, it's also very important in ensuring that the taste of the dish lives up to the flavor expectations that you're setting with the taste-focused label. And so here, we've actually provided you with 50 recipes featuring 28 different veggies. These are all from the research that we've done previously to inspire you to think about what types of dishes you might create or how you might label some of the dishes that you already have. And so the third step here is to create a taste-focused label for your dish. And so on the Edgy Veggies Toolkit, we provide some examples of some activities or thought exercises that help you brainstorm delicious names for your dish. We've also provided edgy labels by vegetable and also edgy words by theme. So here you can see that we've got different themes that tie into indulgence, excitement, comfort and nostalgia, and location-based. And all of these are descriptors that we found to help elevate the flavor experience. And then very importantly, we want to ensure that we are evaluating the impact of this program. And so the Edgy Veggies Toolkit offers a pre-toolkit survey for before implementing taste-focused labeling and a post-toolkit survey for after implementing. There's also a menu developer evaluation that allows food service operators and others to understand how to best implement taste-focused labeling in their own dining halls. We also want to hear from you. We want to hear how you're implementing the Edgy Veggies Toolkit. How has this impacted your operations or your efforts to shift people towards healthier, more sustainable foods? So please visit the Edgy Veggies Toolkit website and share your story with us.
Thank you, Jackie. And so really we want to leave you with this call to action to help boost the appeal of healthy foods everywhere by sharing these insights with your networks. There is so much opportunity for this low or no cost intervention. And we really ask you to help spread the word to whomever comes to mind in terms of influencing the food choices of individuals, young and old, all across the country and all around the world for that matter. We encourage you to use the hashtag #DeliciousImpressions. We've listed the websites there for the Edgy Veggies Toolkit at sparktools.org, as well as the bit.ly for the Dish Study Executive Summary, which is an operator-friendly, food service oriented short and sweet, beautiful version of the key findings from the dish study. And we encourage you to tag CIA Leadership, Stanford Dining, Stanford Spark, and RWJF, which is the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, whose support was instrumental in making this research possible. And so we want to thank all of our research project funders, in addition to Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Stanford Spark, and the National Institutes of Health, or NIH. And finally, the work of the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative would not be possible without the generous support of 22 industry-leading mission-aligned sponsors. So we thank you to all of them, and we thank you to our listeners and our viewers here in this webinar for joining us. And we look forward to a future of taste-focused labels all around the country and beyond to advance healthy, delicious, sustainable food choices, plant-forward future for us all.